So we discussed about the common excuses that a lazy person give. We discussed about this in English last week. Now, this is actually taken from one of the book that your parents and I learned when we were little back home in Burma. So even though this was taken from this Sigalovada Sutta that we have been learning, we never knew that it was taken from that sutta, from Buddha, right? So we memorized this when we were little, okay? So I'm sure some of you know how to read Burmese a little bit. So can you read this for me? What is this? AD. This is Budi. This is Mochodi. Mochodi means it's late, it's dark, it's nighttime, right? So you will notice in Burma, there's no electricity at the time. So you see the white lamp here. So that was from the old book that we had when we were very little in Burma. Now this is what? Saudi means too early. I don't want to get up, right? Oh, today is Saturday, Sunday. Why do I have to get up early? There's no school, right? What is this? Sadi means and, right? So this is hungry. I'm hungry. I don't want to walk. Oh, now I ate too much, right? So here, be in the, right? So we talked about this last week in English. This is all from Sigalovada Sutta that we learned, right? So A D Budi Mochodi Sodi Sadi Nebye A. So we had to memorize this when we were younger. And so then teachers would tell us, do not give any excuse with all these, because if you do, chances that you are a lazy person and you will not be successful in life. You will never finish your project in time. Okay, so that's what we discussed last week. So a little bit more. Okay, now from the Sigalovada Sutta, we discuss about the bad friends or so-called friends. They are not real friends for you. They in fact are the enemies. Okay, so we discussed about that last week. Then we're going to watch this little short video clip so that you refresh your memory. All right, so last week we read the actual Sigalovada Sutta, right? Now this little video clip summarizes what we learned about the enemies which are pretending like a friend. So they're not your friend. They may be close to you, they may be hanging out with you, but if they have these characters, they are actually your enemies. Okay, so all right, so we will go to next. Now we also talk about what are the 4 types of good friends, also from the Sigalovada Sutta. Okay, so let's watch this video also. All right, so hopefully this refreshes your memory from last week. All right, so this actually is what we read last week from the actual Sigalovada Sutta, right? So as usual, I would like to invite a few volunteers to retell this class based on these slides that we read last week. Anybody would like to volunteer? This will be straightforward, right? All you have to do is read and explain to the class what we read last week. All right, to me, Michelle, go ahead to me.
So for that one in the peril of idleness, it says that it's basically like a lazy person, and then like if he'll complain that it's too hot, and then he'll do nothing, and then he'll say it's too cold, and then he'll do nothing, and then he'll say it's too early in the morning, and then he'll do nothing, and then he'll say it's too late in the night, and he'll do nothing, and then he says he's too hungry, and then he does nothing, and then he says he's too full, and he does nothing, and he also had to say it in Burmese.
Very good. Thank you to me.
Basically, he gives excuses.
Thank you. So make sure you're not one of these, right? So it is very common that a lot of humans, whenever they want to be lazy, whenever they are lazy, they give these excuses. So the moment that you're thinking about, oh, it's too hot, I don't want to do my schoolwork. It's too cold. or it's too early, or too late, I'm hungry, I'm full, I'm tired. If you're saying that, basically you're being lazy and you're going the path of destruction for your life, right? So I don't, well, I hear some of these from my own kids, but one thing that I usually hear is, I'm tired, right? So now when you relook at that, you see you're tired because you're not interested in doing what you are supposed to. You're not motivated. So basically, the moment that you say you're tired, remember you're being lazy and you're doing the wrong path. So get rid of that. Okay. Only when you practice that, you will get the habit of not saying you're tired. If not, you will always be tired for no reason. You'll be tired because it's hot. You'll be tired because it's cold. You'll be tired, it's Saturday, it's Sunday, it's school holiday, this special day, that special day, then you will never do things that you are supposed to do. Okay? So get rid of those if you want to be a better person in life, a great person in life. And you all will be great person in life, but you got to get rid of these. Okay? Very good. Thank you, Michelle. Tata Ricky.
So the one that says there are six pearls by frequenting the streets at unseemly hours, that basically means that like if you're around the neighborhood with gamblers or people who like drink, then like they might be shooting at each other. And I heard that one of your patients, he opened the blinds and then he got shot. So if you do that, then he himself is without guard or protection, and so are also his wife and children, as is his property. He is liable to be suspected of crimes. He is the subject of false rumors, and he will meet a lot of troubles.
Very good, Dad. Thank you. So right now you're not doing that because a lot of you are very young, or because of the COVID, you can't really go out, even if there are a few teenagers. You can really go out because you're not allowed to, because your parents want you to be inside the home, your friends cannot come out. But especially if you're a teenager, or you're in like you become seniors in high school, or you are a college student, the chances that you want to go out at nighttime with your friends, you want to hang out, you want to go to the bar, you want to go to the party. Now there is a good chance that you will end up in the wrong part of the town, and you could be in big trouble. So that's what we discussed about last week, right? Or sometimes you're not even going out. It just so happened that you live in a bad neighborhood and you could end up in the middle of the problem, like the story that I told you. A little kid just speaking because he hear all the gunshot on the street. A stray bullet hit his head and he died, right? So doing, just frequenting these streets at unseemly hours, you could be in trouble. All right, okay. Um, I would like a few more volunteers to talk about other slides. Okay, that means Sophia turn.
For the six pearls about like gambling. So if they win when gambling, they're gonna be hated by the people who didn't win because they get to take the people's money. And if they lose, they're gonna like mourn for their lost money. They're gonna miss their money. And there's like they're always gonna lose like actual wealth. And the fourth one is like if he's in a court with a judge, um, his his words aren't gonna be valued that much because most gamblers like lie a lot, and he'll like eventually be hated by his friends and companions, and he's not gonna like be able to find a spouse because most people would say that whoever gambles can't like really afford to keep like a spouse.
Very good. So here in this country, this is a big problem. In Burma, it's not much of a problem. We do not have casinos, and the most that people play are like playing cards, like poker and stuff. or cockfighting. But not many people can do it because of the laws are pretty restricted over there. But in this country, the gambling is very rampant, right? You can go to Las Vegas, you can go to Reno, you can go to all the casino all over the country. Now, those casinos, the people who run the casinos, they are very smart. They already program the machine that they will never lose. Now, the chances are that you will lose sooner or later, right? Now, even if you win big time, now the chances of that, they probably will kill you to get the money back from you, right? It's just like in the movies, and it's real. Now, if you just do small gambling with your friends, chances that if you win, they will hate you. If you lose your wealth, you lose your money. So gambling is horrible. And also you need to understand the difference between the investment and gambling. A lot of people think that they are doing investment or they're making money, whereas they are actually gambling. So sooner or later, your friends are going to leave you. And not only that, your husband, your wife will leave you. Now, on the other hand, you've got to be very careful if you fall in love with someone, you have a boyfriend or girlfriend who has habit of gambling. Now, mistakenly, if you ever marry them, your life will be in horrible state lifelong. Because they are addicted to gambling just like someone addicted to drugs and alcohol. Gambling addiction is real, right? Just because that guy fall on you and that guy will promise you a million times that, oh, I'm going to quit this gambling if you just marry me. The chances that you will mistakenly listen to the guy and you marry, this guy will always go back to gambling and never will get better because gambling is an addiction problem. So if you notice any gambling with your friends, that's a friend that you stay away from also. Forget about actually dating that guy or that girl or even getting married, right? Stay away from those kind of friends. So very good. Thank you. To me, thank you. Okay. Anyone else?
Okay, I guess I'll do one. The flatterer on foreground, flatterer is to be reckoned as a foe and the likeliness of a friend. And so technically they're saying good stuff to you and then you feel really great and everything. You feel like you're the best person in the world and that they're the best person in the world. But behind you, they don't like you at all and they're just doing it for the show and your show. And then you end up trusting them and then something bad happens. And yeah.
All right. Thank you to me. Okay. All right. So let's go to the Kahoot then. Get ready then. Okay, so the question is, who or what is in trouble if you go to the street at wrong hours? So you will become a subject of false rumors. That's correct. Your reputation could be broken. Correct. One's singing skills definitely is not related, right? Your spouse and children could be in danger too, because if you're in danger, chances that if you get into some kind of gang relationship, then they actually not only harm you, they can actually come attack your home and your family, right? So that's why these three are correct. Very good. Let's see. Okay, so Sophia Tom is leading, Jackson, Andrew, and Eric, and Macy. Welcome to the board. Good job. Okay, let's go to the next question. Okay, so all the answers are correct because the question is, what are the traits of a fellow waster? Meaning a friend who actually will waste your time, or basically this is a bad friend, or your enemy, or an enemy pretending to be your friend. So they ask you to roam the street on uncertain hours, like nighttime, wrong place. Friends who go to a lot of shows and fairs. That's all they do. All they do is just go to different fairs and different shows, and they don't do anything for your life. They don't study. So they are bad friends, right? Friends who ask you to use intoxicant, definitely. Friend who asks you to do gambling, right? So all these are correct answer. Let's see. Oh, okay. Macy is going all the way up, and Ricky is coming up. Welcome to the board, and the rest, keep your title. Very good. Okay, let's get ready for next one. All right, so same thing, right? So what are the common excuses of lazy people? So he say, I'm too full, and he does not want to walk. See that it's too early, does not walk. It's time to sleep or too late, does not walk. It's too dark, does not walk. So all are correct answer. Very good. Okay, so Eric and Jason going back up. Macy is leading the board. Andrew and Sophia Tom is keeping the title. Very good. Okay. Next. Okay, so the word rapacious, we discussed it last week. It's a little big word, but what I mean by that is basically this guy is greedy and selfish. Not only that they are greedy, they're selfish. Okay, so this rapacious meaning selfish and greedy combined. So that kind of person will focus only on their own interest. They're not interested about you. They're interested in themselves, always me guy, right? Not you. Always me, me, me. Everything is me. So they will always focus on their own interest. They might pretend like they are interested in your interest, just like, they just want to get your favor. They want to become your friend, or they want to date you and those kind of things. But when you actually talk to other people, you notice that he or she is a me person, meaning they are just self-centered. They don't look out for the others. He only will offer you help when he himself is in danger. Okay, I told you last week that you have a friend, he never calls you. And 2 years later, he calls you and he started asking you how you're doing and whether you need help and stuff. And you say, oh, I'm fine. Oh, nice to hear from you. It has been several years now. Now, at the end, he will start asking your help. So that kind of person is the rapacious person again, because they are self-centered and they remember their friends only when they are in danger, or only when they need help. One who gives little and wants a lot in return. Okay, they'll give you a little tiny present of 20 cents and they expect that you give them $2 million present. Okay, so that is the kind of person rapacious. One who meets a lot of troubles, well, they may or may not. So that's not the definition of a rapacious person. So these three are the correct answers. All right. Okay, Jackson is going all the way up and Sophia Ton is going back up. Nolan, welcome to the board. Good job. Okay, all right. Okay, so the question is, what are the sum of the perils of gambling? He cannot afford to keep a wife in marriage. Now, even though here it says wife, it could be husband too, because in Asian country, most of the gambling are done by the husbands or the men. But in this country, there are so many ladies, so many girls who are addicted to gambling also, right? So you can be he or she, wife or husband, because if you're not making money, if you're not going to your work, or you are focusing on gambling, you are not going to be loved by your husband, your spouse, your wife anymore. So you're going to be in a divorce, right? Not only that you lose your money and you will regret and grieve over it, and your life will be horrible. He gets applauded for winning, maybe for a few seconds, but nobody really respect you because you are a gambler. Your word will have no weightage in the court of law if you ever end up in a court of law because you're a gambler, nobody listened to you. Okay. All right, Nolan's going up, and Sarah, welcome to the board, and Kathleen, welcome to the board. Jackson and Sophia trying to stay lead on the board. Good job. All right, next one. Okay, what are some of the perils of flatterers? Right, so he praises you but talks bad of you to others. So that's the right answer. He greets and lets you do wrong things. So you're not very clear about doing things and you're going to do wrong things. So even though he knows that you're going to be wrong, you're going to be in trouble, he just say, oh, I agree with you, go ahead, do it. Then you end up being in the hot soup, right? You'll be in trouble. Like, oh, I want to do this. And oh yeah, good, let's do it. Oh, let's play a prank at school. So your friends instead of telling you, oh, no, don't do that, you could be in trouble. So, oh yeah, great idea. Yeah, why don't you go ahead and do it? Then you'll end up at the principal office, right? So that's the kind of friend that basically flatter you. He greets and let you do right things. So what I mean by that is, some of you got this wrong because according to the Sigalovada Sutta, so flatterers, they just agree with you whatever you say, right? So that you will get confused. So sometimes you're going to do the right things. It's, oh yeah, good, great. And now you got good results and you, oh, I feel great. He is my best friend. Now, next thing you know is that you're planning to do something bad and they also applaud you, encourage you to do bad things, right? So that's the reason why this thing is also correct according to the Sutta. But some of the Sayados, the monks, do not agree with this. So because this has to be always together. So that kind of flatterer always agree with you. Doesn't matter whether you are going to do the good things or bad things. Okay. So just remember that. If someone is straight out, just tell you anything you say, yeah, I agree. Yeah, I agree. That's right, you agree. Then you love it, right? You love that kind of friend. Man, this guy agree with me, anything. Well, watch out. Maybe he is pretending to be your friend. Because one day your judgment is wrong and he's going to push you down the path. You'll be in big trouble, right? So that's what Buddha wants you to know about. Okay. All right. Okay, Catherine's going up, and Michelle, welcome to the board. Very good. Okay, we're going to go to the next one. Okay, so a flatterer is a fool, but he acts like a friend. Maybe they are like your friends. So the answer is true. Okay, so that's straightforward, right? Easy answer. All right, leaderboard is not changed. Very good. Wow, amazing. Look at that. Everybody got it right. Make my day. Yes, excuse is a part of being lazy. All right. Oh, Sarah Lynn is going up. Good job, Sarah. Okay, let's go to number 9. All right, so why is winning and gambling bad? You might think that, oh, I'm winning, it's great. Well, not really, because people who lost, they will hate you, right? So that's the only right answer. The rest are not correct answers. Okay. All right, Kathleen's going up. Good job, Kathleen. Okay, let's go to the last one. All right, so the question somewhat straightforward, right? If you go out in midnight, what does it fall under? What topic that we have been discussing? So basically going out at unseemly hours, right? So yeah, you can end up winning the gunfight, but that's not the question now. The question is asking, what does this fall under? So going out at unseemly hours. Good job, Kathleen. Jackson. Good job.
Upakaraka, the helper. On 4 grounds, the friend who is the helper is to be reckoned as sound at heart. He guards you when you are off your guard. He guards your property when you are off your guard. He is a refuge to you when you are afraid. He provides a double supply of what you may ask in time of need.
Thank you, Dad. So a good friend, a real friend, is the one who protects you no matter what. Not only he protects you, he protects your property, meaning your house, your family, your car. Let's say you're away, right? You're not in town, but you need help. Your family needs help. You're out of town, you're in a different country, and you tell your friend, hey, you know, my family is in need, in danger. Could you take care of that? And he will, she will. Okay, so that's the characteristic of a good friend. It's a refuge to you when you are afraid. Now, when you're scared, when you're depressed, when you're crying, now you can trust that friend. He is a shoulder to cry on, right? She is a shoulder to cry on. You can always go to him or her and confide what you feel inside and discuss, and she or he will listen to you, okay? And she will give you all the suggestions, great ones. He provides a double supply of what you may ask in time of need. So you need some money, you need some food, and you go to that friend. Hey, friend, you know what? I really am short. Could you borrow me $20? So she'll say, you know what? Here, take $40. Don't worry about it. You can pay me back anytime you want. Okay. So that is a good friend. Okay. So that is, Buddha call it as helper. Okay. Upakaraka, meaning the helper. The helper has these characteristics. So if you see these characteristics in a friend, they are most likely good friends for you. Okay, very good. Thank you. Okay. Kathleen, could you read this for us, please?
Samana Sukha Dukkha, the man who is the same in weal and woe. On 4 grounds, the friend who is the same in weal and woe is to be reckoned as sound as heart. He tells you his secrets, he keeps your secrets, he does not forsake you in your troubles, he can even die for your sake.
All right. So the Pali word samana, sukha, dukkha. Sukha, as you know, is the good or great feeling or good time. Dukkha is when you're in trouble, when you're suffering. So a friend, whether you are up or down, they are there for you. Okay. So that kind of friend is considered to be great friends. So the man who is the same in weal and woe, the same thing, that's what they mean by sukha and dukkha. Okay, whether you're having great time or bad time, doesn't matter, a friend is a friend. On 4 grounds, the friend who is the same in weal and woe is to reckon as sound at heart. Now they have the great positive energy for you. Their heart is great. He tells you because he trusts you, then he tells you his secret. Not only that, you tell your secret to that person and they will keep that secret. They will not tell anyone. Be careful. A lot of people pretend like you can trust on. Then they will go tell everybody else. So it's very easy to pick. So those kind of friends, they will come tell you, you know what, I'm telling you because you're my best friend. Now, he or she goes to the next one and they tell the same thing. You know what, don't tell anyone. You're the only one that I'm telling. You know, that guy, you know, he's this, she's that. Now, before you know, the whole town know about that secret, that so-called secret, right? They will do the same thing about you if there is something that people there are rumors about you, then that kind of friend will do the same thing, right? But a real friend will not do that. A real friend will keep your secret just like theirs, and they share their secret with you. Okay, he does not forsake you in your trouble. So when you're in trouble, they will not leave you. They will not leave you alone. They will help you. They will be next to you. And they will even die for you if needed. Okay, so those are considered to be good friends. Very good. Okay. Tami Marina, you have a question to me, Ali?
Is it the music break time? It's 8 o'clock.
Okay, to me, Catherine, go ahead to me.
Athakai, the man who gives good counsel. On 4 grounds, the friend who declares what you need to do is sound at heart. He restrains you from doing wrong. He encourages you to do good. He informs you of what you may not have heard. He reveals to you the way to heaven.
Okay, so in fact, we actually watched a video clip today on this. So a good friend is the one who gives you good counsel, who gives you good advice. He restrains you from doing wrong. If you are in the way to doing something negative, he said, no, don't do that, man. It's not good. Right? Whereas the bad friend will tell you, yeah, go for it, man. Yeah, great idea. Let's do that. But instead, a good friend will be very straight in front with you. No, I don't agree. No, don't do that. You'll be in trouble. Well, I'm going to tell your mom. I'll tell the teacher if you're going to do that. So he or she is a great friend. He encourages you to do good, informs you of what you have not heard. He or she will share you the information that you should know for school, for study, for life, for business. He reveals to you the way to heaven. So eventually he will take you, let's practice meditation, let's go to the temple, let's do this, do that. Well, not at your age, but later you need to find someone who will walk that path. All right, thank you to me. So let's go to the next page. All right, Anukamaka. To me, Sarah?
Anukamaka, the man who sympathizes. On 4 grounds, the friend who sympathizes is to be reckoned as sound at heart. He does not rejoice over your misfortunes. He rejoices for your prosperity. He admires anyone who's praising you. He is restraining anyone who speaks ill of you.
So these are the characters of good friend, also called sympathizer, right? He does not rejoice over your misfortunes if you're in trouble. Best friends will be happy. Oh, look, oh my goodness, yeah, right? But instead, that friend will come to you and console you and say, oh, I'm sorry, you have to go through this. Yeah, they're mean to you, but hey, I'm here for you. So whereas your bad friends will be happy when you run into trouble. He or she rejoices over your prosperity. If you're a winner, if you get a lot of money, if you become prosperous, they're happy. They're happy like it happens to them. He admires anyone who is praising you, and he restrains anyone who is speaking ill of you. So basically, he acts like your advocate, and he will do good things for you. He will advocate good for you. Right. Okay, let's go to the next page. All right. Okay. I would like someone else to read it for me. All right, Kai.
In 5 ways, a child should minister to his parents as the Eastern Quarter. 1, support by them. I will now be their support. I will perform duties incumbent on them. I will keep up the honor and the tradition of my family. I will make myself worthy of my heritage. I will make merry offerings to them after their death.
Okay. So the actual Sigalovada Sutta, if you remember the story, the young man, every morning, he will get up, he will wet his hair, he will wet his whole clothes, go to the corner of the town, and he will pray to how many directions? He will bow down to the 6 different directions, right? So one, he meets Buddha, and Buddha told him, okay, why are you doing this? Why are you wetting your hair and your clothes, and why are you bowing down to 6 directions? So what did he say? What was his answer? Thomas. Okay, Yeti?
His answer was because his father told him to do that before he died.
Right. So because that's what his father told him before he died, before his last breath. My dear son, every morning, get up, wet your hair, wet your clothes, go to the corner of the town and pray to 6 directions. That will make you to be a prosperous person. So that's why he follows his father's advice, because that's the advice that his father told him before he died, before his father died, right? Now, all the pages that we just read before actually just explain about what? Did it explain about the direction yet, or it just explained about the what? What does it represent? Yuri?
The people who guided you into the right way, like your parents, teachers, etc.
Okay, but this simile or parable, as you call it, that his father told him, what does it represent? All these things that, okay, don't hang out with, wrong friend, don't go to the wrong place in the middle of the night, all those things. What does it represent in the story? Anybody remember? So that's basically just explained about keeping his hair wet and keeping his clothes wet. What does it mean by that? Because if you follow what we just read, then you will keep your head cool. You keep your body cool. You will not be in trouble. So that's what it meant. Only this one is taught about bowing down to the different direction, the 6 direction. Now, which directions are the parents? Who remember? Kevin.
I don't remember.
Okay, who remember which direction is the parent? Eric.
The east.
Yeah, it's written right here, right? The eastern direction, eastern quarter. Okay, so who's going to read this? Dennis, could you read this for us, please?
We just read that.
In 5 ways a child could minister to his parents an Eastern Quarter. 1. Supported them by them. I will now be their support. I will perform duties incumbent on them. I will keep up the honor and the tradition of my family. I will make myself worthy of heritage. I will make my merit offerings to them after their death.
All right, very good. So now this is about bowing down to the eastern direction, right? So these are the duties or the responsibility of the kids towards their parents. Once supported by them meaning parents. Parents supported you, and now you will be their support. Now, when your parents are older, you will be supporting them. I will perform duties incumbent on them. I will perform duties incumbent on them. So you will take the duties that they have been doing I'll keep up the honor and the tradition of my family. Okay, so your family carry good reputation, and you will be the responsible person to continue that reputation. I will make myself worthy of my heritage. I'll make merit offering to them after their death, even after they die. Whether it could be your parents or your grandparents, you will actually do positive energy and pray for them. So this is the responsibility of the child according to Buddha. Let me share a slide. So children's noble conduct or practice to parents. Now, this is what we had to memorize when we were younger, and I would like you to do the same thing. Okay, I know some of you are good at Burmese and some of you are not as good at in Burmese, but repeat after me. Dadami, Jianwei, Ngaba. Dadami Jianwei Ngaba. Chui Mui Mapiat, Sang Yue Si Man, Mui Kan Tai Si, Lu Mia Wei Yue, Lu Mia Wei Yue, Sang Li Miu Nue, Wei Nga Due, Jian Bui Da Ru Da. Okay, so it could be the me also, right? If you're a girl, Jian Bui the me Ru Da. Okay, so it could be Da or the me right here. So this is the same thing that we just read. So you actually read the actual sutta, and this is in Burmese that we recited when we were younger. So this is the English translation, which is pretty very similar to what you just read in the sutta. Having supported me, I should support them, meaning me, meaning you, right? Support them means your parents. I should do their duties. I should keep that family tradition. I shall make myself worthy of my inheritance or my heritage. I shall offer alms in honor of my departed ones, meaning I should do merits for the parents who are gone, or it could be grandparents who are gone. So in next few weeks, I will expect you to memorize this in Burmese and English, okay? So what we're going to do now is we're going to look at this from 2 points of view. The Western point of view about the responsibility of the children to their parents, and the Buddhist point of view. So this is most of Buddhist point of view, right? So we'll also look at the Western point of view of the responsibility of the children to their parents. Then we will discuss. After you watch this Western point of view of the responsibility of kids to their parents, then we'll discuss whether you agree with that or not. Okay, so pay attention.
For most of you, your parents brought you into this world. They also fed you and changed your diapers and wiped away your tears. They raised you. Yet, according to contemporary American philosopher Jane English, once you're grown, you don't owe your parents anything. Not a single thing. Now this might sound a little selfish, a little ungrateful, a little mean, but let's hear her out. Because you've learned by now that many of your default attitudes, the attitudes that you think you have about other beings and your relationships to them, have a hard time standing up to philosophical scrutiny. So let's scrutinize one of the most important relationships you have in your life, the one that you've had the longest and probably the most intimate one you'll ever have. Let's talk about your folks. There are three basic views about the obligations you have to your parents. One is the unconditional view. This is the view that simply by virtue of being your parent, that person is entitled to certain things from you. At a bare minimum, your presence and attention in their lives, until one of you dies. By contrast, the conditional view says that you owe your parents based on what they gave you. So really terrible parents might not deserve anything from their grown children, but good parents deserve quite a lot. So your level of obligation is based on the amount of benefit that you received growing up. And finally, there's English's view, known as the friendship view. This says that you don't actually owe your parents anything once you've grown, regardless of how much you benefited from their parenting. Many of us take it as basic, that we owe our parents a lot, what with all of the feeding and nurturing and driving to soccer games and acting like they enjoyed our macaroni art. But English makes a couple of observations about this assumption. First, she says, if anything, it's the parents who owe their kids. After all, if you choose to have a child, you incur a huge responsibility to raise that child or to give it away to someone who will. So it's basically a contractarian relationship. If you agree to do something, then you have a duty to see it through or to extract yourself from the contract. And that is the line of reasoning that leads English to conclude that grown kids don't owe their parents back. Because none of us chose to be born, and you can't have an obligation if you didn't do something to incur that obligation. Now you might be thinking, fine, if you want to think of family relationships in terms of contracts, then isn't there still an implicit contract between child and parent? If you've reaped the benefits of being raised by good, loving parents, doesn't it mean that you've implicitly accepted the contract and have therefore incurred obligations? The problem with that is children can't really enter into moral contracts. If as an adult you enter into an agreement with your parents, like you can live at home for free as long as you maintain your grades in college, then you got yourself a contract. But any benefits incurred while growing up don't count, because back when the relationship started, you were just a baby and you didn't have the rational capacity to be held to a moral contract. And what's more, your parents didn't provide for you with the expectation of a payout. They had you, or they kept you, or adopted you because they wanted you, and they gave to you because they wanted to. Good parents give unconditionally, so no matter how much you receive from them, you simply don't incur debt, because that's not how family works. Now to be clear, English isn't giving us a pass to freeload off our parents. She thinks that if you have a good relationship with your parents, you'll probably want to help them out when you can, but that's not an obligation. Instead, she says, the appropriate model is friendship. Friends don't keep score, they help each other out of love, and in loving relationships, no one's keeping a hidden tally of who helped last and who's due to help next. You don't have to keep score. You give simply because you want to, out of love. So English argues that once you're an adult, your relationship with your parents should model that of friendship. And the thing about friends is, if the love isn't there, the friendship dissolves. You have no underlying obligation to remain friends with someone. And likewise, if you had bad parents, or if you simply don't care about them once you're an adult, you have no obligation to give them anything, including your time. You didn't incur a debt by being raised, she says. So just like with friendship, you can choose not to maintain a relationship with your parents. It's up to you. Now this attitude might seem scandalous to some people. I mean, isn't blood thicker than water? Well, many philosophers challenge the idea that you have special obligations to someone just because you share some genetic material with them. By that logic, a person who was adopted at birth would have obligations to biological relatives that they've never met, and they wouldn't have any obligations to the family that raised them. And I think most of us can agree that that doesn't make any sense. We tend to think of adopted families as being no less familial than biological families. So if you think families are built through love and not blood, then it follows that families lacking in love can't make moral demands on its members because they simply don't have the standing. While we're talking about parents here, let's stop by the thought bubble for some flash philosophy. Before you're trusted to do something that has the potential to cause harm, you have to demonstrate that you can handle it. In most societies, this is done through licensing. Driver's licenses, hunting licenses, wedding licenses, heck, barbers even need to be certified before they can cut your hair. So contemporary American philosopher Hugh La Follette thinks that there's another group of people who should be licensed. Parents. That's right, La Follette thinks potential parents should be required to apply for and obtain a license before being permitted to reproduce. This sounds kind of ridiculous, right? But think about it. Most activities that require competence to do well, and that can cause harm if done badly, are regulated by society. There's no question that parenting isn't easy, and you can really mess up a kid if you do it badly. But right now, we wait until a parent has abused or neglected a child before the state intervenes. So La Follette asks, Wouldn't it be better if we took preventative measures instead? After all, adoptive parents undergo heavy scrutiny before they get to have kids, so just like driving a car in La Follette's plan, you'd have to pass a test before you could get a parenting license. There'd be classes for those who need it, and you can always reapply. But if you can't demonstrate a basic ability to raise a child, then you just don't get to have one. What do you think? Would society be better or worse if you needed a license to raise children? Does everyone have the right to be a parent? Or should you have to demonstrate that you're up to the task before you're allowed to bring a new human being into the world? Thanks, Thought Bubble. Now, here's yet another perspective on the philosophy of family obligations. Contemporary American philosopher Claudia Mills argues that there's something truly special about what you have with your family. Your family members are the only people in your life that are permanent and unchosen, she says, and because of that, there's value in maintaining a connection with them. Mills points out that we live in a world where we're constantly changing. Most of us will have many different jobs and live in lots of different places and go through a great many friends, maybe even a couple of spouses. But there will come a time when there are very few people left in your life who have known you since the beginning. Mills thinks that your family allows you to stay connected to the person you once were before all those changes happened. And even if you aren't really that person anymore, that connection can be grounding and valuable. So go ahead, call your brother on his birthday, remind him of the time he tried to dry his socks in a frying pan. In addition to getting a good laugh out of it, your brother might appreciate reconnecting with his roots. Now you might have noticed this is the first time our discussion of ethics has focused on personal individual connections, on feelings of love rather than on impartiality. This is a characteristic of a school of moral thought known as the ethics of care. Contrary to most of the theories we've studied, this view says that morality demands that we pay attention to special relationships we have in our lives. The ethics of care says that morality goes wrong when we emphasize impartiality, because it's our most caring relationships that make our lives worthwhile. And we want our friends and family to care more for us than they do for strangers, right? So ethicists of care often reason that even though we might have a general love for humanity itself, you just can't beat the unconditional I would literally die for you love that we only have for the people we know best, the ones with whom we share an intimacy that we simply can't feel with strangers. What could the harm be in that? Well, many ethicists worry that showing preference for the people that you happen to like opens up the door for prejudice, because it's easy to be kind to people you like. You don't need morality to tell you that. The hard part is being kind to people you don't like, or who are different from you, or who you simply don't know or understand very well. It would be great if everyone had a support network of people who love them, so we'd just all take care of our own loved ones and life would be perfect. The problem is there are a lot of people who aren't lucky enough to have support networks of care. And there are others who have people who care about them, but their loved ones lack the resources to actually provide for them. If we rely on ethics of care, it looks like those people will get neglected. So we're going to talk about this next time when we discuss poverty and the moral obligations we have to strangers in need. But today we talked about moral obligations to family. We considered the possibility of licensing parents, and we talked about the ethics of care and some potential problems that type of approach to morality carries with it. Crash Course Philosophy is produced in association with PBS Digital Studios. You can head over to their channel and check out a playlist of the latest episodes from shows like Komanity, Deep Look, and Gross Science. This episode of Crash Course was filmed in the Dr. Cheryl C. Kinney Crash Course studio with the help of all of these awesome people, and our equally fantastic graphics team is Thought Cafe.
All right, that's very interesting, right? So by the way, I like this guy. Some of you know this guy. He has a lot of YouTube videos, and he actually shoot about medicines, school studies. I mean, there are thousands and thousands of YouTube videos that he makes, and he's famous. So he discussed about 3 different points of view: the contemporary or the current philosophy of the responsibility of kids to their parents, or the relationship between the kids and the parents. What are the expectations? So there are 3 things that he talked about. What are those? Michelle?
He talked about like licensing parents, because if they don't have the skill to like parent, then they can't have a child. And he also talked about that people owe their parents like a lot of stuff because their parents took care of them and fed them and all that stuff. And then he also talked about that in a way they also don't owe them, because they don't owe them anything because the parent decided to have that child and they have a lot of responsibility with it. And basically, they just did it because they love the child, not because they had to or anything.
Very good, Libby. Thank you. Thomas, you want to discuss?
No, she said it all.
Okay, all right. So there are, at the beginning of his talk, there are 3 different things that he talked about, right? So one, talking about the responsibility of or expectation of the kids to their parents. One is conditional, right? What's the other one? Unconditional, and the other is good friends, right? So there are 3 morals that he talked about. So what is conditional that he discussed? Yuri?
It's like on conditions, we do this because of this. I'm like,
Right. So conditional is like, oh, my father took care of me. He spent this much money. Now I owe him this much. And after that, I'm done. Right? That is the conditional. Oh, he is good. He was good to me, then I'll good to him. That is the conditional. Right? Now, the other is unconditional. Doesn't matter. Right? A parent is a parent. And they brought me into this life. I owe them, I have to take care of, I will take care of them. Right? So that's one end of the unconditional. The other end of unconditional is what? I did not choose to be born. They did, and boom, they're pregnant, and here I am. I didn't choose them, right? I don't owe anything. Okay, that's the other spectrum, right? So the unconditional has 2 spectrum too. One is they are my parents. I respect them. I'll take care of them no matter what. The other end is I didn't choose them. They chose me, right? I'm not joking. I was really shocked when I first came to this country. I was working at Walgreens pharmacy. I had a coworker. So we were having lunch break together. So we're talking, and suddenly he was talking about his parents. So I said, "Oh yeah, so you gotta be respectful." And he said, "No, why do I have to? They just want to have fun, and they got pregnant, and here I am, and I'm in trouble." And I initially thought that guy was joking, right? For us, for Asian and for Buddhist, that is a shocking. So I was like, whoa. Now I am not surprised because this is a philosophy that a lot of Americans have. So they think that they're here today and it's just because their parents just wanted to have fun sexually. Okay, so nothing else. So that's why they think that I don't owe anything. Right? That's the other spectrum of unconditional. And the other one, Thomas, go ahead.
First of all, you should owe your parents. They gave you a life. They gave you a life to experience everything in life. Experience the good, experience the bad, just anything. So technically, no, you should owe them.
Thank you. Thank you. And the other model is the friendship model, right? So the friendship model is like, well, you're a friend with your parents. So it's kind of like conditional too. If your friend is good to you, you're a friend. If they're not good to you, you leave them. Now that's a friendship model between the kids and the parents that they're talking about. So let's look at all these 3 models that the Westerners have, and we will discuss which one is our model as Buddhist and Burmese, and which one you prefer. Okay. All right, Sandra.
Can't see the screen.
Oh, I'm not sharing any screen right now. we are discussing about what he mentioned in his video clip. Okay, so all right, what do you think we as Buddhists and Asians and Burmese are? Are we more so of conditional, unconditional, or friendship? What do we normally practice as kids towards our parents? What do you think? Stella.
What's the question?
The question is, how tasty is your lollipop? No, I'm just joking. The question is, what is our Buddhist or Asian or Burmese take on the relationship or the responsibility of kids towards their parents? Is that conditional, unconditional, or friendship? If you're not sure, that's okay. All right.
Yeah, sure.
No, that's okay. Taruki?
I think unconditional because we need to respect our parents.
Okay, so you think that is unconditional. There are two extreme of unconditional too, right? So unconditional. Okay, very good. All right, Michelle, what do you think to me?
I think unconditional.
Unconditional. Okay. Let me, Sabal, what do you think? Sabal?
I don't know. I think it depends on the parents, like what they expect from you or what they need from you.
Okay. Now the question is, what do you think? Meaning, let's say your parent does not ask anything from you. In fact, a lot of time, the parents do not expect anything back in return explicitly. They don't ask you, okay, you know, pay me back this much dollar because I raised you, and it cost me $2 million because counting the time that you were born, I had to go to the hospital, I have to drive the car, you know, I have to be in pain, I have to buy diapers, I have to buy baby powder, you know, I have to take you to the daycare, I have to take you to the school, I have to buy this clothes for you for the Halloween. Now, this college costs you this much, your meal every day costs you this much, the home that you live in, I have to pay this much, your water you use and your bathroom that you poop. Now, if I added up, that costs $2 million. Give me back $2 million. You think your parent will ask that from you?
No, but I think you at least you don't really owe them, but like I feel like you should take care of them because they were your parents and they probably gave up a lot of stuff to raise you and make you comfortable and gives you a good life.
Very good to me, thank you. So that is conditional, unconditional, or friendship?
I think it's kind of more unconditional.
Very good. Yes, it is, right? Because I don't expect anything back from my kids, right? So when I get older and I cannot ask my daughter, hey, Yuri, give me back $2 million. You know what? Yeah, maybe just give me 1 million. Do you think I will do that? No, your parents won't do that either, right? So that is unconditional. So we as Buddhists and Burmese, the parents love you unconditionally. We don't expect anything return from you. If you do, hey, Dad, I'm rich. Here, I'll give you $1 million. Great, I'll be happy. I may or may not take it, but I'm not going to ask you openly, or I will say, oh, you know, my daughter now she has $10 million. Why doesn't she give me $1 million? I do not expect that. If she doesn't, I won't feel bad at all, right? Because it's not at all of my expectation from my kids. And the same thing with your parents, right? So our Buddhist philosophy and the Burmese culture is unconditional positive love, right? Whereas American philosophy is more so of conditional. You know, my dad, you know, he is an a-hole. I am not going to be good at him. Right? He's a drunk. He never took care of me. Right? So then that is the conditional love, conditional responsibility that you think, he didn't take care of me. Why do I have to take care of him? Now, we Burmese don't do that. So in Burmese culture and British culture, a parent is a parent. Doesn't matter whether they are a drunk, alcoholic, gambler, bad guys. You still tell them, hey, dad, no, it's not good for you. It's not good for your life. But your dad is your dad. Your mom is your mom. Doesn't matter whether they're good or bad. They may be good, they may be bad. The community may look down on those parents, but they are still your parents, right? So as they love you unconditionally, and we respect them unconditionally also. Yes, they are our friends, but it is not like American friendship where, well, you know, that friend is good to me for this extent. I'll be good to that friend for that extent. After that, we're not friends anymore. We do not treat our parents like that either. Okay, so as much as American and Western philosophy takes the relationship between the parents and the kids like that, but we as Buddhists have one unconditional relationship. That is, parents take care of the kids no matter what, and kids take care of the parents no matter what. Okay, so and but one thing that I like is, though, in this video is the license to be parents, right? That's a good thing, though. I like it because a lot of teenagers, especially in this country, they don't think about the responsibility of being a parent. They just get a girlfriend or a boyfriend and date. Oops, suddenly they're pregnant. Now they get babies. They don't know how to handle it, right? Now that will be a very, very bad experience for them and their kids, right? So when he talked about license to be a parent, I think it's a good idea, right? Especially for certain age, some fresh teenagers, because we see a lot of teenage pregnancy. They go through divorce and horrible things because that they discuss about the responsibility. So that's a great thing. All right, very good. So now I'm going to show you a little video clip also about the Buddhist point of view on that, which is a little different.
One day, when the Buddha was teaching, in Rajagaha, he said to the monks, "There are two transgressions that have immediate negative consequences, and surely lead a person into hell. Which two? The first is failing to support and respect your parents. The second is doing any kind of evil deeds or committing a crime in the house of your parents." The Buddha went on to say, conversely, there are two great virtues that speedily enable a person to partake in great blessedness and joy. The first is filial piety, supporting and showing respect for your parents. The second is performing all virtuous deeds in the family home. Next, the Buddha told a story. A long time ago, a parrot lived on a high snowy mountain. Its father and mother both being blind and unable to search for food. Every day the parrot would collect fruit and nuts to feed them. At that time there was a farmer sowing rice seeds, who vowed to share the crop with all beings at harvest time. Having heard the farmer make this vow, the parrot often came to take the seeds in the paddy. One day, when looking around the paddy, the farmer saw that many of the spikes were broken off. In his annoyance, he decided to set a trap for whoever was responsible. The next time the parrot came into the paddy, it found itself trapped in the net, unable to move. Seeing the farmer approach, it called out, "Farmer, If you hadn't promised to share this food with everybody, I would not have dared to come and take it. So why are you now angry? Are not the fields just like a mother giving sustenance to many thousands of creatures? Is not the tiller of rice paddies like a father feeding his young children? Truthfully, as innocent as a child and without guile, the farmer is like a benevolent king, the protector of his people. Being one of your subjects, I will always be grateful in my heart and honor you. The farmer was touched by the parrot's speech and asked, "Who were you taking this rice for?" The parrot replied, "I take the grain in order to support my parents." Thereupon the farmer told the parrot, "From now on you can come here and take as much as you like. I am willing to help you. You see, in life, if you honor your parents, you cannot do wrong. So always love and honor your parents." Like the Buddha said, this is Dare to Do Motivation. Thanks for watching and stay blessed.
Okay, so based on this little story, what do you think is the Buddhist approach to the responsibility of kids or children towards their parents? Is it conditional, unconditional, or friendship? Michelle?
Unconditional.
That's unconditional, right? So the video mentioned that, okay? So there are two things, right? One is you don't do anything bad to your parents, or in positive way, you do good things to your parent. And the other is you don't do any crime or any negative things in the parent's house, right? So there is a big difference between the Eastern and Buddhist philosophy and the Western philosophy already, how you treat your parents, right? Now, before I came to this country, I never thought, I have read about these, even back home. I never thought, maybe it's not that bad. Till I actually met that guy when I was working at the pharmacy, I was really shocked. Oh, it's real. So you may find some friends who are born here, who are Westerns, American, that they don't really pay respect to their parents. Now, don't get me wrong, there are some Americans who actually pay respect to their parents even better than we do, but very few. But a lot of kids these days, they don't pay respect to their parents. They don't think that parents are the one that they need to take care of when they are older. So a lot of American kids think that, well, I become human being because they just want to have fun sexually, and I don't owe anything to them. And by 18, I'm out of their house, bye-bye, and I may never see them again. Or I may call them during Christmas or New Year, that's it. Or Thanksgiving, not even New Year, maybe Thanksgiving or Christmas. So that kind of philosophy, we do not accept that. That kind of philosophy is not a Buddhist philosophy. Our Buddhist philosophy is unconditional love. Parents give that to you. Unconditional love that you give to your parents, and you take that responsibility. So before we end today, what we're going to do is we're going to memorize that the duties of the kids to their parents again. So let's do that before we end. Okay, let me share the screen then. Okay, so let me read that first, and then you will read after me. သားသမီးကျင့်ဝတ်၅ပါးကျွေးမွေးမပြတ်ဆောင်ရွက်စီမံမွေခံထိုက်စေလူမြဝေ၍စောင့်လေမျိုးနွယ်ဝတ်ငါးသွဲကျင့်ပွဲသားတို့တာ Repeat after me. သားသမီးကျင့်ဝတ်5ပါး
သားသမီးကျင့်ဝတ်5ပါး
ကျွေးမွေးမပြတ်
ကျွေးမွေးမပြတ်
ဆောင်ရွက်စီမံ
ဆောင်ရွက်စီမံ
မွေခံထိုက်စေ
မွေခံထိုက်စေ
လှူမျှဝေ
လူမြဝေ
၍စောင့်လီမျိုးနွယ်
စောင့်လေမျိုးရွယ်
ဝတ်5သွယ်
ဝိငါတွေ
ကျင့်ပွယ်သားတို့သာ
ရှင်းဖွဲ့သားတို့သာ
So here always the Burmese interpretation, Burmese meaning is a little bit better than the English interpretation, right? So here chui mui mapyat, meaning you gotta feed your parents, you gotta take care of your parents, okay? So sang yuet siman, meaning you gotta manage their affairs when they're older. Let's say I am 80 years old, I'm demented, I don't even know my name anymore. I become like a little baby, I need to wear diapers, right? So what are the chances? The chances that my kids will send me to the nursing home and someone who don't know me will take care of me, or they may not take care of me well. Or if I'm lucky, Yeti or William or Ted will live with me and take care of me by changing my diapers, right? So that's basically is managing all the affairs of your parents when they get older. I might not be able to add between 1 and 1, or I might not be able to manage my money, my check account, my bank account, and they will take care of that, right? Mui kan taisi is basically inheritance. So basically you do the good things that they deserve to keep my money, to keep my properties, to keep my dignity, right? And you do donation for me even after I die, okay? Or my parents, meaning their grandkids, right? So so you actually guard the dignity of your inheritance, your heritage line. Say, for example, you're proud that you're Burmese, you're proud that you're a Buddhist, you're proud that you take care of your parents, you're proud that you're respectful of others, those kind of things. Okay, with nga I mean this 5 different responsibility. That's the things that we should practice. Okay, so try to memorize this. Okay, in English, I'm not going to go over English again. In English and in Burmese. Okay, the reason why is because this is one of the Mangala, right?